tank. He's good at setting traps. Has crazy power that he believes in. He has a great chin too because he's a guy. He'll let you get out punches, and he'll still be coming at you. And then once he catches you, it's a wrap.
All-time greats. Crawford's one of the best switch hitters, I think, since Marvin Hagler, and one of the most skillful boxers alive.
Errol Spence was blown away by Terence Crawford's intense training for the Canelo fight, praising his unmatched speed, precision, and footwork. Having faced him before, Errol acknowledged Crawford's elite skill and ring IQ, but said this version looks even sharper, explosive, focused, and dangerous. He warned that Canelo cannot afford to underestimate this level of Crawford.
Step right here and roll.
Reflecting on his fight with Errol Spence, Terence Crawford showed clear respect for his former opponent while highlighting his own strategic approach, breaking opponents down with patience and precision before unleashing explosive, fight-ending combinations.
How hard does Spence hit?
He didn't hit that hard.
But he never caught you that clean. That was probably the best shot he landed.
No, he caught me a couple of times, but I was surprised at how hard he didn't hit.
Really?
Given that everybody say, oh, he's a big puncher, he's this. I think he's just a volume puncher. I think he just wears opponents down, just wear them down. I don't think, he has a one-punch knockout. He has power, but it's not like, boom, sleep. I think it's like, bam, oh, boom, 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 boom. Then he just wear you down.
Right, yeah. That is a difference, right?
Because if you look at his career, you never seen him, like, knock nobody out with one punch. You never see him, dropping nobody with one punch. You always see him, like, wearing them down. That's why he goes so hard to the body, because he want to wear you down. Then once you get tired and once your body start weakening, everything started weakening, and those little punches that wasn't hurting start hurting.
Former champion and analyst Chris Algieri offered sharp insight when comparing Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, noting that while Crawford consistently controls his fights with dominance and precision, Canelo has shown vulnerability, particularly in his loss to Dmitry Bivol, where he was outboxed and controlled. Algieri suggested that Crawford's adaptable, technically sound style, built on control and discipline, could pose serious problems to Canelo, even with a jump in weight.
But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford.
Okay.
But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah. So you briefly mentioned Canelo's power. So who, I would assume Canelo has the
You'd have to think, unless Crawford was on a knockout streak until he moved up to junior middleweight and then failed to stop Madrimov. So, and Canelo, though he has not stopped anyone in a while, we've seen he's a real puncher at 68.
As far as speed, who has a better speed?
You would imagine Crawford, given the fact that he is the
Veteran commentator Max Kellerman gave a balanced take, acknowledging both Crawford and Canelo's strengths, but leaning slightly toward Crawford based on recent form and overall skill set. He praised Crawford's peak timing, switch hitting, and knockout power, while noting that Canelo, though still elite, has shown some decline in movement and aggression. While Canelo's size could be a factor in close exchanges, Kellerman believes Crawford's speed, precision, defense, and adaptability make him the more complete and currently sharper fighter.
Canelo, obviously at 168, he has been a bit of the smaller man at that weight class, and in the last couple of years has had trouble finishing opponents and getting guys out of there like he would have at 160 or 154. So you have a bit of a duality there. Both guys coming into this fight in the, let's say, twilight of their careers, or maybe twilight of their primes, however you want to look at it. Canelo is going to be, I think, 35. Terence is 38. So you have a similar situation, different paths, and different struggles for both fighters. But when you look at who has to do more in this fight, it's clearly Terence Crawford as far as what he's giving up and sacrificing to win this third undisputed championship and to try to beat Canelo, who has only been beat twice in his career, one of which was Floyd Mayweather being slick and tagging Canelo with counter punches when Canelo missed, being the smaller, lighter fighter and up there in age that was still able to take advantage of the youth and experience of Canelo Alvarez, but also just being a defensive maestro and able to counter off of that. Floyd is one of one. And then you have Dimitri Bivol, who was the bigger fighter, and the things that Canelo does very well didn't really hurt him too bad, right? The things that had carried Canelo up in division was his power and the ability to break an opponent down, maybe not stopping them in the early to mid part.
The dynamics of this mega fight are intriguing. Crawford is moving up in weight, which could challenge his speed and endurance, while Canelo, though seasoned at this level, isn't the explosive powerhouse he once was. Recent performances show Canelo relying more on control than pressure, with fewer knockouts. This shift, combined with Crawford's sharp footwork, high ring IQ, and superior stamina, suggests that despite the physical leap, Crawford has a clear path to victory if he delivers at his peak.
I'll say Canelo Crawford, your prediction quickly.
Canelo Crawford. I got faith that Crawford could take it. I got faith in Crawford. I feel like Crawford, he might surprise some people with his strength. So it all depends on who's
Rising boxing prospect Abdullah Mason voiced strong confidence in Terence Crawford, predicting not just a win but a potentially shocking one for those expecting Canelo's size to dominate. Mason challenged the narrative that Canelo is a stronger fighter, pointing instead to Crawford's underrated power, which he believes comes from precise timing, sharp angles, and clean shots. If Crawford can land consistently, especially in the later rounds, Mason believes the upset could very well happen.
In Dubai, maybe a month ago, I saw him. He's big, and he has very good skills. He's one of my favorite boxers. He able to win this fight, but there is a lot of but, and even not but. There is a lot of things, small things, which we don't know how he will deal with this. He need to get used to the power and pressure of 168. Because it's big difference, to be honest. Maybe he will get used to it, and how he will be feeling himself on the same day when he will fighting, how his training camp will go on, a lot of things. But he's able, he has good skills, he's awkward, he can use two boxing stands. It gives him benefits, of course.
I was at that same event in Dubai just before Christmas, and I saw him too, and I thought exactly the same thing, which is that he is quite big.
Yeah.
Size obviously is important. Jamal Charlo stepped up from super welterweight to super middleweight to box Canelo, and it didn't work at all for him. But Crawford is, he's one of the best fighters.
Dimitri Bivol, who recently defeated Canelo, offered strong praise for Terence Crawford, noting that Crawford has bulked up well and possesses the skill set needed to win. Bivol, knowing firsthand what it takes to beat Canelo, highlighted Crawford's discipline, speed, and ring intelligence as key advantages. His support adds serious weight, suggesting this fight is far more competitive than it might seem at first glance.
And, we ain't getting punched in the face, so let's just watch the show and enjoy, people. You know what I'm saying? Let's just watch what these champions do. No matter what they do, they're both great. They're both going to continue to be great, but by the end of the day, one will be above the other.
Your eyes?
It's not like, I think a lot of people are going to lean towards Canelo. I don't want to say it's like, I feel like for the fans, it's coming off 50-50. Like it's hard for me to really commit, because this is what happened, right? When Canelo just fought the Charlo, right? When he just fought Charlo, he knocked Charlo down. But after he knocked Charlo down and Charlo was using ring movement, he never hit Charlo with another big shot, okay? This is what Keith Thurman is watching. I'm not saying like, oh, Canelo didn't do good. Like, Canelo dominated. That fight he dominated, right? But let's just pay attention to little details, right? After he got dropped, he never got hurt again. Why, you ask? Why did Canelo not hurt him again? Oh, because he was on his bike, because he was using lateral movement, because he was watching with his eyes, and because he was being, you know, attentive with his defense, and he was able to make Canelo miss, but he was not able to make him pay.
Keith Thurman offered a thoughtful take on the matchup, noting that while it may appear evenly matched to casual fans, a deeper technical breakdown reveals key imbalances. He pointed to Canelo's struggles against Jermell Charlo, particularly when Charlo used smart movement and ring IQ to avoid damage. Thurman suggested that Crawford, being even more strategic and cerebral, could exploit those same weaknesses and potentially pose an even greater challenge for Canelo.
Good, you know, work has been going great. And, you know, fight time, we're going to be prepared to put on a great show for you guys.
Has this been in your mind? We've been talking about it forever. Did you feel like this was eventually going to be the case, that you and Canelo were going to eventually get in there?
Not at all. Not at all. I didn't, you know, think it was, you know, a fight that he wanted. So I didn't really know. But, you know, thanks to Turkey, Al-Sheikh, he made it possible. And, you know, we got one of the biggest fights in the last decade, you know, happening at Allegiant Stadium, September 13th.
When you get in there, what do you expect? Everyone's going to make, you know, a size difference, but what do you expect when you get in there with Canelo?
I'm expecting Canelo to be Canelo. You know, he's the bigger man. I expect him to, you know, box a little bit, but I also expect him, you know, to try to walk me down and be the bigger man. So, you know, we expect everything in there.
I was looking it up, and I think the last time Bud Crawford was an underdog for a fight was the Prescott fight back in 2013. Any difference? Do you even pay attention to odds, or that doesn't matter to you when you step in there into the ring that night?
No, it definitely don't matter. You know, the odds can't fight for him. So, you know, it is what it is.
On his podcast, Joe Rogan, alongside comedian and boxing fan Mike Vecchione, praised Terence Crawford as one of the greatest and most dangerous boxers alive, highlighting his elite skill set, mindset, and relentless work ethic. Rogan called the Canelo fight both a major challenge and a legacy-defining opportunity for Crawford, financially and historically. Crawford himself acknowledged the size disadvantage, expecting Canelo to use pressure and weight, but expressed calm confidence in his preparation. His balanced mindset, respecting Canelo while trusting his own adaptability, shows a psychological strength that makes Crawford such a smart and formidable opponent.
No. So you would put your money on Crawford?
Yes.
You'd make money.
Okay.
Just put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think Crawford's going to be there?
Because Crawford could find people to fight like Canelo, who is amazing. Canelo has just, oh my God, like his he evolved. I saw how he evolved defensively and everything. I just don't think he's as fast as Crawford. And I think Crawford is just a little step ahead as far as movement is concerned. And so I think it's going to be Mayweather Canelo Part 2. That's what I think.
I mean, Canelo is naturally heavier.
Yeah, Crawford ain't gonna knock him out.
Huh.
But I don't know if Canelo's gonna land very solidly on Crawford.
Actor and martial artist Michael J. White backed Terence Crawford to win, explaining that despite moving up in weight, Crawford has repeatedly proven he can neutralize bigger opponents through smart strategy. Jay emphasized that this challenge isn't unfamiliar territory for Crawford, just a new name on a bigger stage, and expressed full confidence in Crawford's ability to stay composed and execute his usual game, calculated, vicious, and precise.
Last question for you. Crawford, Canelo, who wins? Man, both of them guys are great. I respect Canelo. I respect Crawford to jump in and take a big fight like that. And that's what makes great fights, to see the big fights and wondering which side going to win. But like I said, they say Canelo is the GOAT. I remember when Canelo fought Floyd, you know what I'm saying? So it's like we're getting another chance at seeing Crawford.
Calvin Ford, trainer Gervonta Davis, praised Terence Crawford for taking on such a massive challenge, saying it takes a rare kind of fighter, mentally and spiritually, to step into a fight where the odds, weight, and pressure are against you. He highlighted that Crawford's willingness to pursue greatness, even when the path is risky, is what sets him apart and reflects a legacy-driven mindset that few fighters truly embody.
Look, it's just Canelo doesn't go out for the knockout anymore. Canelo's just now, you know, we've seen in the last few fights, he just does enough to win. He did the same again, Munguia. He dropped Munguia, but then they didn't want to finish him. Charlo, Berlanga. He wants to cruise through the fight. You know, he's up there, you know, in not in age because he's only like 33 or 34, but he's
fighting since 15.
He was 15. A lot of training camps, a lot of sparring matches. So all that takes a lot out of your body. So he takes care of his body too. So he doesn't go all out because he doesn't want to just finish his body. He knows he still has a few more years and a few big fights where he wants to take care of himself. And not punish himself too much. That's why he hasn't been able to knock those guys out. Not because he can't. I think he just does enough to win. I think Shiraz also has great power, man. I think Shiraz has...
Veteran trainer Robert Garcia gave an honest take on Canelo's current style, noting that he no longer aggressively hunts for knockouts like he once did. Instead, Canelo now fights more strategically, focusing on winning rounds, conserving energy, and reducing damage, a shift Garcia attributes to age and career longevity. While still effective, this more reserved approach could play into Crawford's hands if he's able to exploit the slower tempo and impose his own rhythm on the fight. That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates, insights, and breakdowns as we get closer to this epic showdown. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to keep up with all the latest.